If you're looking for a budget-friendly EDC flashlight, this is going to be your video. We're going to show 10 that I think are worth looking at, but we're also going to be talking about just the entire group of flashlights in general, all of which are going to be under $40. Let's get started. Now the first two we're going to talk about fall into a hybrid category of keychain / pocket carry. So in order for it to fall within this category, it needs to be able to do both. So pocket clip enabled, as well as being small enough to comfortably carry. The first one we're going to discuss is going to be the Oclip from Olight. Now this is a newcomer that I have to say I really like, and a lot of people I have shown have also really liked it. The fact that the light comes out sideways means that you can attach this to a collar, to your belt, or basically the waistband of your pants, and you can use it hands-free. And it's very light and capable. So up to 300 lumens, it has red light as well. Type-C charging, so it's pretty simple to charge as well. And the clip is just very comfortable and convenient. And yes, it does attach to a keychain if you want to as well. At around $30, that's a really nice value, and you can probably get them with a discount on Olight from time to time. The other ones we're gonna talk about, well, it could be either one from a company called RovyVon. Now, if you're familiar with these guys, they make some of the most compact, most versatile flashlights on the market. And they're also stupid bright. So this flashlight, which is basically the size of a AA battery, is 650 lumens. And you just hold press to get immediate access to that turbo mode. Very nice construction and very high performance. It also has a reversible clip that you can take off. You can attach it to your keys. You can use it as a dangler. It's just a really great design. They also make a clear body variant that has a a switch that activates side lights, and this can have a variety of different combinations, whether it's UV, white, or red light, and they also have different modes in each of those things as well. Now, I have in this variant a cool white front emitter with warm white side emitters that are high CRI. A very great combination, and it has a maximum of 70 lumens on the side, 650 lumens on the front. These are some of the best keychain / EDC flashlights you can find. There are more, and we're going to add them to the master list. You can see those there, but these are head and shoulders above most of those lights. There are two types of disposable batteries you can find anywhere in the world, and those each have their own category of lights. And I have two examples that I want to show you, but I have one honorable mention. This is a AAA powered light, but it also can be used with a 10440. That battery will run at 3.7 volts, quite a bit higher than what a standard battery will, which gives this the ability to reach 240 lumens with a high CRI on top of everything else. So this is a programmable flashlight, so you can program it with a user interface that you like. And yeah, it comes in a billion different materials. The only issue, literally the only issue with this light is availability. They are so popular, they tend to run out. And hopefully they will be back soon, but I want to mention, because if it not been for the fact that these are out of stock right now, the Phoenix would probably not have been here. But for that reason, this is simply an honorable mention. Now, there are two flashlights in the AAA size that I think encapsulate what we're looking for. One is a very simple flashlight, and the other one is a very versatile one. And so we'll start with the I3T. What I like about this light is it doesn't matter your experience level, age, it doesn't matter what your background. You'll be able to use this light to good effect because it is small and very simple. Single press gives you a 5 lumen output, and then a double press will give you 180 lumens. And this is quite a bit brighter than many of the other AAA powered flashlights that you'll find on the market. It's also IPX8 waterproof, so you don't have to worry about it, and pretty much in any environment. It has a very nice firm pressed rubber tail switch. This thing can be found in literally 50 different combinations and colors and finishes, and you name it. And they start at $20. And for that reason, I have to include this as the primary light to go to. It's the one I would gift if I was given the chance, because I know that no matter who it is, they will find value in it and they will find it useful. That 180 lumens is more than enough to be 3 or 4 times brighter than the light that's on your cell phone, and for that reason, it is actually worth carrying separately. Similarly to that, we have the Phoenix LD02. So there's a couple things I really like about this. First of all, its fit and finish is fantastic. It looks like it belongs in somebody's shirt pocket. It looks like something that is quite elegant. And in fact, it matches really well with this pen from Parker, by the way, which I thought was pretty hysterical. But what I like about this light is it has multiple functions, starting with the light. It is a high CRI, very, very warm tint, a maximum of 70 lumens, but actually has a very high beam concentration, making it able to reach out for long distances. So you just tap it to go through the mode set. So this is the high mode at 70 lumens, and you can see very bright still, even though it's only 70 lumens. And actually you can see the difference, much more concentrated beam than the I3T. What's cool about it though is if we go from there, you can get what's called a UV light, and this is useful for a lot of different purposes. And yeah, could come up with something that you might need this for, detecting bodily fluid, you name it. But the fact that it has that versatility, it's an elegant flashlight. It doesn't need a reversible clip because it's kind of like a pocket, kind of distinguished carry, but I like it. And it comes with a battery as well. Definitely something to consider. There are just so many AAA flashlights that I could have included on this list. And so it was difficult to narrow it down to only two, but I gotta say, I think these are some of the best ones out there. So the next category has to be AA, right? This is probably the flashlight that is going to be the easiest to use on a day-to-day basis because you can find the fuel literally anywhere in the world. But there are some flashlights in this category that kind of set themselves apart. Now, I pulled a ton, and I mean a ton of AA's. I think I had close to 20 that I could have selected. But yeah, and this one too, and this one, and this one. But there's two lights that I think stood out because of what they offer in difference to the other lights out there. So the first one is going to be the Protac 1L1A from Streamlight. There is no other flashlight in the sub $40 range that can do what this light can do. Absolutely not a single one. And why it's so good is not only is it quite bright for what it is has a very high candela rating for its output, but the fact that it can use multiple types of fuel. So right now, I have it loaded up with a CR123 battery, which is what it's designed to actually use, but it can also use a AA as well. Now you can see right there, there's a plastic piece and actually slides down to accommodate the different length batteries. This will even use a AAA if you can kind of make up the difference in the space around it, which is just like you can wrap something around it, put some tape on it. It will actually use a AAA as well. So a flashlight that can use every disposable battery type that's readily available has to be worth mentioning as an emergency flashlight and as something you can carry in your pocket every single day. With a CR123 battery, it also will reach a very impressive 300 lumens, but has over 6,000 candela with that 300 lumens. So very, very bright flashlight on top of everything else. Definitely the one I would pick, and probably the most recommendable AA in existence for the fact that it is good in emergency situations. The other one I wanted to talk about, which kind of is not a common thing, is carrying a right angle flashlight for your day-to-day. Now this has a slightly more complicated user interface. It has a lockout feature as well. It has moonlight and it has mode memory. But the fact that it is high CRI with a maximum output of 650 lumens, it comes with an included 14500, which is a 3.7 volt battery that has a Type-C charging port built into it, and it comes with a headband. And I got this one on a recent sale for $19. Now, I don't think you can find it that cheap now, but even if you're finding it at the base price, it's still insanely cheap for what you're getting. And just be aware, there are actually two variants of this. This version is the high CRI with 650 lumens, but the gray colored variant has 1000 lumens. So if you like something that's cool white, you can get that one and it'll be even brighter. And the right angle flashlight is really undervalued because it can be used hands-free as long as it has a clip. You can attach it to a collar which is very easy to do. You can attach it to a belt. You can attach it to many places. And this one also, which is quite cool, has a magnetic tail. So it actually will stick to the bottom. That's a bad example. It will stick to anything ferrous, and you'll be able to use it in many directions. So as something that you might use for maintenance, it's also going to be incredibly good. All of that versatility in a very budget-friendly package, I think makes it worth mentioning. Now, I had a ton of flashlights in the AA size that I could have brought in. I really hem and hawed about this category quite a bit, but when it came down to it, I think these are two very distinct versions of flashlights that you want to consider, and they do so many different things that they could be bought in conjunction with each other and still be worth it. That's what I have to say about AA, but there are just so many. So I will leave a whole bunch in the master list that you can browse if these are not exactly what you're looking for. So the next two categories are going to be rechargeable flashlights. So all of these have batteries that can be bay charged. However, they also have built-in Type-C charging ports. So you can see them right here and here. And that is a very important stipulation. So if you're going to have a rechargeable flashlight that you're going to carry every day, you need to be able to charge it on the go. And both of these can do exactly that, as are all the others that I will put on the master list. Now, the T1S has really high output, excellent user interface, a good pocket clip, magnetic tail, and basically everything you want for a sub $30 price point. It's really, really hard to beat this particular light from ThruNite, I have to say. And the other thing I want to mention, because there are two distinct sizes here, is that this runs on an 18350, which has a higher output than some of the smaller battery types. So the other common rechargeable battery type is the 16340, and the H10S, along with the Sofirn SC18 Pro, both of these use that battery type. So either one could have been good, but I think the right angle flashlight, for all the reasons we discussed before, is probably the one to go with, right? Magnetic tail comes with an attachment if you want to use it as a headband. It has a pocket clip, so it can be carried in your pocket, and I actually would carry it like this, you know, with this one sticking out, and that's the way I would carry it. This has a maximum output of 1,000 lumens, high CRI, good user interface. Not much more to say. It's a very, very budget-friendly light that has a lot of versatility built in. It's kind of, I still think that the right angle flashlight is probably the most underrated thing for everyday carry that possible, because we tend to think in defensive nature with flashlights, but from a practical standpoint, these are very, very useful things to have. And because you can clip it on a belt, because you can clip it on a collar, it's just way more useful. And then the magnetic tail on top of it is just the icing on the cake. Either one of these is good. I do recommend both. The ThruNite does have the added advantage of having a spare silicone cover, which almost all their flashlights come with, and I really do appreciate it. But there's a lot of good options in this category, actually a ton of them, and I will list them all down below. This was by far the hardest category to choose just two, because there are so many good flashlights. In fact, here are some of the others that I considered. Honorable mention here has got to be the Streamlight Protac 2LX, because it can use an 18650 or two CR123 batteries. The only thing that was holding it back is it's not as bright, and it doesn't have the best user interface in the world. But overall, excellent, excellent flashlight, and is definitely worth considering, just sneaking in under that $40 price point. Now, these are the two that I ended up choosing for my recommendation. The first one is a truly defensive flashlight because it has two modes. It has an eco or everyday mode, and it also has a tactical mode set. So when you press the tail switch on this light, you get 2,000 lumens blasting, and it is really impressive. Well over 200 meters of throw with an SFT40 emitter. This thing is fantastic. You can even buy a shorter 18350 tube if you don't like the length. So the ability to have both is phenomenal. You even can access a moonlight mode even when it has the tactical setup on top of it. I can't recommend it enough. Right now, this is on sale on Wurkkos' website, but the prices will vary. They can be as low as it is now, $25 including the battery on their website, or it can be up to around $40 at full price. But anywhere between there, it's still going to be very, very good, and frankly is probably the brightest light with the right user interface in this category. It's pretty damn close because of the fact that they're using that SFT40. Now, the other light I want to talk about is the FC13. Now, this is really important because it's not clearly marked. There are two versions of this light. There's the FC13 and the FC13S. So the S version is a very simplified version of this light and is a lot cheaper. In fact, the S version of this light is $20 right now. I just checked. It was $20 the last time I checked. But even this falls into the sub $40 category, and this has a different user interface. So it has Enduro 2.0, which is a fully customizable interface if that is your thing. You have multiple emitter types, so you can get up to 3,000 lumens with a cool white, or you can go down to 1,300 with a high CRI. But the thing that's really cool about this light is that it also has the ability to reverse charge, meaning that this works as a power bank for any device. And so for that reason, I think that it is kind of in a league of its own in the sub $40 price point. There are other flashlights that I'm going to talk briefly about, but this one is really good. Now, the S version does not have that reverse charging, and I think that's part of the reason why it's less expensive. So just keeping that in mind, both of these are excellent. They have great user interfaces, a variety of different emitter types, depending on which one you're looking for. And I believe that this one does not have a smaller tube available, but hopefully they will do so in the future because it would be nice to have a compact version of the same light. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong with these two or with the Streamlight, and they're great lights in this category. I know I said 10, but I gotta talk about these as honorable mentions. So the WK03, this is regularly found on Amazon for under $20. And as a 18650 flashlight with a good user interface and a good pocket clip and a really compact form factor, I mean, just look at it the size of the Protac, okay? This is worth mentioning for sure. Now there's also a Sofirn version that is looked exactly the same. In fact, it functions exactly the same. And just if you're wondering, they are both made by Sofirn OEMs for Wurkkos as well. So either one are good options, and they're incredibly budget friendly. And one of the only lights with this battery type under that $20 price point. And I cannot recommend them enough. The other light I want to talk about, which doesn't technically fall under that sub $40 price point all the time, is the TS25. Now this is made by Wurkkos. It is a 21700 powered flashlight. It has 4 emitters, the SST20, high CRI, 4,000 maximum lumens, and it has auxiliary emitters. It is fully programmable, pretty much does anything you could possibly want it to do. It has a reversible pocket clip, magnetic tail that does have enough strength to hold it horizontally, and to bring all this just like a little icing on the cake, this thing can reverse charge. And by having a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, it can actually fully charge my cell phone one time. And I have a Samsung S23 Ultra, which is one of the biggest phones out there. So the fact that this thing can do that is worth mentioning. Now, not everyone is going to be comfortable carrying a light just this big. Now, once again, compared to something like the Streamlight, it's the same length, just different width. If we go down to a much narrower flashlight, you can see just how much bigger it is than maybe a standard AA. But overall, I think it's definitely worth a mention because of all of its capability, and right now is currently on sale on Wurkkos. So I'll put a link to both Amazon and Wurkkos' website, worth taking a look at. And there you have it, my 10 EDC flashlights that you might want to consider with a pocket clip and everything else. Now, this isn't remotely all the flashlights that I had available to me to make this video, and there are just so many good ones out there. So I have the master list down below, and I will be continuing to update that list as time goes on, even if you're watching this video far in the future. Now, this video is actually part of a series of videos where we cover different categories of EDC gear. And if you want to see the others, there's a playlist right over here. As always, thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.